Hello guys, Coach Vic. Getting with you today kind of as an intro video. And I'm doing this pretty soft. Like I said, I'm not going to be like yanking out a bunch of likes and doing a bunch of shit. There's a reason why I do stuff like that, man. A lot of times people think that you have to have all this fancy things to get things going. I started my gym, created the best brand in the state, created one of the more popular brands from a coaching facility in the MMA, wrestling community, football community, from a shoestring, just by baseline concepts that I did. So we will have a lot of stories about how we got to where we are today, a lot of all these different things. But for now, I'm going to start this one to show you or illuminate the light of how Warhorse Strength Camp got started. So years ago, I used to just train people. It used to be fun for me. I used to do these crazy workouts, and I put together a lot of workouts for me and my son. My son was in football when he was younger. For myself, to kind of help me with my MMA stuff, I was always training people at some point. Me and a buddy of mine used to take a tire and a bar and some cones to a baseball field and just get after it and just work out and train hard. Later, I started getting better at those things, started getting better at my training. My son was getting better at the things that he was doing, and I invited a couple of my MMA buddies because I was training MMA, and I invited them over, and they started training, and with that training, they started doing very well. One of my buddies came to me and was like, okay, I'm getting back on doing MMA hardcore, and I started cultivating and crafting and getting back into it and growing these workout trainings to help him and a couple of my other MMA friends escalate their MMA careers. A lot of them had belts and title fights coming up, and they wanted to be more professional in their limelight of what they were doing. So they knew that having a strength coach opposite of their technical coach was how the pros did it. So I was really just doing this for fun, man. I was just doing it at my house, had the knowledge of it, what I did worked, I had a very different training model, and I did all that. So fast forward maybe about a year into doing those trainings, I'm a sparring partner for a buddy of mine. I'm doing all these other things. I'm having a great time. I'm not really charging anybody any money. This is just making this fun for me. 1 to 2 people were paying, not a big deal. And then all of a sudden, I start seeing this spot in my eye. That spot in my eye constantly progressed. And it was kind of like here and then here and then here. And one day I'm sitting in church and I kind of look and I'm like, holy shit, man, I can't see my pastor. That's weird. And I'm looking around and stuff. And I'm like, I can't see anything. And what I thought was a popped blood vessel was now progressing. I'm like, all right, well, maybe it's a popped blood vessel. Blood's coming down. I have been doing some sparring, doing some wrestling with my buddy, getting ready for one of his big fights. And then, so I was like, yeah, I'll just go get it checked out. So I go to the doctor. I blow it off for about 2-3 months. I show up to the doctor's office, and when I get there, he goes, wait a minute, let me take a look at this. And he goes, I'm going to send you to a specialist. And I was like, all right, specialist. I'm like, what's up? He's like, what I see is not very good, and I'm not sure. I'm not a specialist, but at the same time, I'm going to send you to a specialist. Go here. Here's a consultation. So I go to this specialist. I show up. Specialist runs some exams. I'm sitting in the chair. I'm kind of smiling, thinking I'm going to be breezing in and out of there. And then he comes back in with this clipboard, and he goes, I need you to sign these forms. And I'm like, okay, what's this? He goes, these are the forms that we're going to go ahead and we're going to do emergency surgery on your eyes. And I'm like, oh yeah? Okay, cool. All right. So emergency surgery for it. He was like, I'm going to be real with you, Mr. Bell. Your endeavors, the trauma to your face, the wear and tear on your body so far as getting hit in the face over time, which is why I talk on the side of my mouth, guys, has caused so much damage to your eyes that you have a very rapidly deteriorating or detaching retinal. You have a retinal detachment that's going and it's deteriorating very fast. And on both eyes. So one eye's going away. That's the spot you see. It's not a sunspot. You're going blind. The other side is already on its way out. So when you lose 100% vision on one side, which will happen in a relatively short amount of time, you run the risk of being permanently blind or totally blind because you have another eye that's also going, but it's not progressed the way that the other one is. And I was like, oh, okay, all right, that sounds awesome. Where's your restroom? So I get up, I go to the bathroom. That means that I'm leaving because I'm like, all right, this is bullshit. I'm the man. I've been through worse. I've had liver, kidney damage, dehydration shit. I've had health issues, heart issues, leg issues, knee issues where I'm not going to do this, not going to do that. I beat all of them. So when I'm there, I call my wife and I'm kind of talking to her a little bit about it. So I call my pastor and I'm talking to him a little bit about it. And questions start to come into my mind. I start to wonder, like, what's it going to be like to be blind? Can I beat this? It's not like a muscle tear. It's not like something I have to work my way back from. This is an organ. This is something that at some point will dictate how I view the world now. My depth perception will be gone because this eye would close. Now, the doctor's like, hey, look, how long is it? I'm asking how long it's going to be, a year, 5 years, 3 years, what? And he's like, no, end of the month, you will be blind. So it was a very real conversation that he had with me, yet I wasn't taking the conversation very real. So what happened was I went in and I made the decision like, okay, you know what? I will have some lighter surgery. I don't want to go under other, anesthesia, whatever it's called, and all this other stuff. So he goes, okay, look, you know what? I was going to call you emergency contact. I needed to get you back in here. That's how serious this is. As a physician, I can't let you just walk out of here and not somehow find a way to make you better. Not with the findings that we see. Even with all those tests and showing me all these things, the ups and downs, I still didn't get it. I got it, but I didn't get it. I didn't want to get what he was saying was on the opposite end of the spectrum for me waiting if I did nothing. So anyway, so we had this this patchwork done where they stuck this huge needle in my eye. They went in, they lasered back where it was tearing, and they did the stuff, and it was okay. I'm not saying it's going to fix it. What you see now that you've lost about 40% of your vision, that's going to be permanent unless something's done. So if it gets worse, you'll know. Come back in immediately. So I was like, all right. So I go back, and he's like, don't do this, don't wrestle, don't fall, don't hit your head in the bathtub, don't jump, don't sneeze, don't fart, don't burp, all this other crap of pressure. And I'm like, yeah, okay. So I go back to doing wrestling. I go back to doing my my workouts. I go back to doing all this stuff 100%. And then all of a sudden at the end of the week, I notice it's getting worse again. So I called the doctor. I was like, maybe I do need to kind of take this a little bit more seriously. I'm looking at my kids play one morning, and I'm like, you know what? I don't want to not be able to see their faces when I'm just 2 years from now. I don't want to have to look at the world from this perspective that I used to be able to see and now I can't. I don't want to go see the Egyptian pyramids at some point, and I'm looking and I'm like, wow, I wish I would have been able to see all of this and all the beauty and all the colors of the sky and all these different things just because I was stubborn at some point. So I had to go on the journey in my mind to go and say, okay, fine, I'll get this fixed. So it wasn't the fact of what I was supposed to go through to get it fixed. It was the recovery phase that bothered me. It was what I wasn't supposed to do anymore that bothered me. It was the life experiences that I was having prior to that experience that I was supposed to never do again that bothered me. So anyways, I had to really take all that into account, and I had to kind of take one ride, go on my crossroad. I had to look at my life totally. And then I had to say, okay, I will go on this journey and have this experience, right? So I go in, I have this, it was on my wedding anniversary at this point. I got in the car and I drove off and I laid on the table and they asked me 10,000 questions, and all of a sudden it hit me. This was real. There was no turning back. My training, my workout stuff, my wrestling stuff, my fight stuff, the things that made me me, the things that calmed me down, the things that gave me value, the things who I defined myself to be were now going to be taken away if I allowed them to, right? So I laid on that table. They gave me the anesthesia, and I went out. I woke up, strapped to the bed. My wife walked me to the car, and a month later, throughout the course of that month, I was laying down in the bed, face down, darkness all the time with patches over my eyes, nightmares from the medicine I eventually stopped taking. I finally caught a glimpse of what I was supposed to be doing. God was telling me, look, you know what? Here's the deal. If you continue to play your game small like you have been, having guys work out, doing a little bit, I've given you a gift, and that gift is to make my men stronger. You are going to be the leader of a movement of men who are strong, who want to be stronger, to go out and have the success that they want to have in their lives, to be champions of who they want to be in their lives. Warrior Strength Camp had to take form past where I saw it, and I was like, okay, God, I got it. So I took on that form, and I bought all these books, and I did all this stuff. And I bought books at the time. I had patches on my eyes. I wrote letters to myself 10 years in the future, talking to myself in my days past. And I mapped out exactly what I needed to do to grow Warrior Strength Camp to the magnitude to where it needed to be. I mapped out this program that took Warrior Strength Camp from a gym to an academy that taught personal development as well as physical development for high-level achievers, athletes, and entrepreneurs. Not knowing that those were going to be in my future, all I knew was that there had to be a way for me to do it. So slowly but surely, there's some other challenges that popped up with that. There was other complications in my eye surgery. There was challenges that I had going throughout that course of the year to be able to get my vision back, to get my physical body back, to be able to get my timelines back, to be able to reconnect with my family, to be able to reconnect with my athletes again. Things that I wasn't supposed to be doing, I began to do to make myself better because I needed to progressively be past what the doctor said I was afforded and also what I was physically capable of based on my ability to do stuff. So during that time frame, I had to map out structural steps to grow Warhorse Strength Camp, to go from it just being some training that I was doing in my yard with my friends and people who relied on me to grow and make championships, win belts, titles, go to college, get college scholarships, and go off to professional sports and NFL. I had to go from my yard to an actual physical location that involved really an environment that I didn't know. Because see, I was an entrepreneur, yet at the same time, this was a specific entrepreneurial space that I had never invaded. I thought at the time I had to have a degree. I thought I had to have all these different things. Thought I had to have 10,000 certifications to even have relevance. But that wasn't the case. You see, what I really needed was I needed to understand who I was. I needed to draw in the people that I needed to lead. Those people needed to know that I was going to be the leader in the space that was necessary, and that I was called to serve them. Yet at the same time, the serving of them meant that they were automatically served through investing in themselves highly through me, my coaching facility, what my gift is, so they can receive the gift that they've been waiting to receive this whole time. There were steps that I needed to create. As a matter of fact, when I got off of that bed, when I moved into our place, there was things that I learned that I had to do. One, I needed to make sure that I had an understanding of what my unique concept was, right? Which we'll go over in the modules. Two, I needed to understand that I needed to create the perfect person for me all the time. I had to know where they were, what they ate, where they slept, what their pains were, what their problems were, what they really wanted, what moved them to go from here to there, and then get them to listen and talk to me as being the person that they wanted. Then step 3 technically came in where I had to get a better understanding of me, of marketing, of how to take where they were, what they were, how they felt, what they were feeling, and put it into some type of level of communication where they can get it, eat it, consume it, and through that consumption come back to me and say, you know what, man, you were talking about me. I like what you said. I appreciate what you said. I see you as a leader in what you're trying to do, and I'm willing to come with you, and I'll invest in myself through you to get the goal that I wanted. So that meant also, outside of having a communication strategy and the marketing stuff to be able to set up to talk to them, for them, by them, right? I needed to also have a sales strategy or sales communication in place that I can get them to come over to me, because that was something I didn't have to do. I was coming from a space where it was kind of done for me by itself, and all I had to do was facilitate the information and the knowledge. So I had to actually learn how to actually sell, which people say that as a bad thing, and it's not. I had to learn a communication strategy that got them to invest in me so I can actually have my coaching facility grow to the magnitude where I can actually serve people and not begin to resent them. Because that's typically the problem, right? Without these steps, create a unique concept, communicate that to create the perfect person, communicate that that communication to the perfect person the right way through your marketing, and then have a closing strategy, you cannot have an effective growth business in your gym. I didn't know that. You see, I had to go from going blind, stop playing in the yard, figure out what I needed to do, create these four steps that was necessary, implement those 4 steps all the time to be able to go to having the best brand in the state, and still not know how the hell I got there. I know how I got there now. I created this model, right? To be able to only train the people that I want to be able to maximize and triple my value, to triple the revenue that came in the door, only training who I want, when I want, with more time on my hands than I would have had I went the other way. Had I went the school way, had I believed the dogma that I had to have all this crap in certifications and I had to have all this huge facility and all these other things, I learned and I put a model together so I can help other gym owners like you go through the rigmarole and not step on the mines that are out there laying in the fields and not get blown up and lose everything like most guys do. Because as we continue to hear, the story has been that if you have a gym, 9 out of 10 gyms close. It's like every other 9 out of business close. And that's because they don't have a model that I set up, right? So this is a quick introductory thing. Now, if you understand that, I will get you to where you have to go. You don't have to be worried and frustrated and not understanding and lonely and working out and through kind of clear off all the tension out of your body and not have clients, not get paid what you want, working 12 to 14-hour days on this shit. You can go right to working 4 or 5 hours a day like I do. Be an awesome marketer, know exactly who you're talking to, why you're talking to them, have them constantly seeking you out instead of you always going to them. Have your bank account be full the way that it needs to, because the people that need to be paying you are paying you. They continue to pay you because you're getting on the result. Connect with your wife, connect with your kids because you're not gone all the time. Go where you need to go. Put a system in place where that gym continues to grow with and or without you, and you are training the right people, and those people are now seemingly your friends versus just clients that you hate to go in and see because you're working at some fitness facility walking around with a clipboard. No one wants to do that shit. Not for a long extended period of time. I didn't, but it took me going blind to see that this was the route that I needed to go. This is the vision that I needed to create. These are the steps that I had to take to help other people get where they had to go. Now I'm taking those steps and I'm bringing them over to you guys in these modules. So this is an introductory course to why I'm even here, why Warhorse Strength Camp even exists, why the Champion Development Academy came into place. This all happened through me going blind, me accepting the fact that I'm playing small, me creating the steps that's necessary to take my gym from the yard to a coaching facility and living the life that I want to by it. And then also being able to connect with you guys to put those steps on paper, in video, on some training modules, whereas I can help coach you where you need to go with the coaching necessary to be able to facilitate the action necessary to take every time to make sure that you have the success necessary in your gym, coaching facility, training business, or just your personal training. So again, continue to watch these videos. It's an intro video. I know it's long. Get over it. This is for your life. This is for your gym. This is for the stuff there. I care about you guys. Keep watching. Keep doing the things that you got to do. If you need anything, reach out to me. If you have any questions, reach out to me. We're going to get started on our first module. First videos is probably going to be 2. And I'll keep it pretty simple. I will go over slides of this story again because it's a part of the leadership stuff. It's a part of the build-up. And I want you to make sure that you watch the other thing where I talk about how to cultivate your story as a leader and get your molds together. So whereas you can do this and talk about it and have value or add value to your clients coming to the door and they know that you're the right person for them. Okay? Coach Vic, Champion Development Academy, Unstoppable Gym Owners Formula. There it is, and we're underway. Thanks.